I made a list of 79 fruits and organized them by blood sugar impact. If you want to get right into the data, click the link in the description below and get immediate access. However, make sure to see the rest of the video. In order for this list to make sense, you need to understand what's the glycemic index and what's the glycemic load. The glycemic index is a way to measure how much a food raises blood sugar levels relative to glucose. Foods are given a score from 0 to 100. By definition, pure glucose has a score of 100 because it's the benchmark, what every other food is compared to. White rice, for example, has a glycemic index of 72. That means that it raises blood sugar levels 72% as much as pure glucose, which is a lot. Everything over 70 is considered high and everything under 55 is considered low. The glycemic index of any given food is determined by giving people a serving of a food that contains 50 grams of digestible carbohydrates, meaning not including fiber, and then measuring the effect on blood glucose levels over the next 2 hours. The net increase over those 2 hours will then be divided by the net increase that glucose causes in the same time period and then divided by 100. The problem with the glycemic index is that it doesn't take into account the standard serving size for each given food. White rice, for example, is made up of 70% water, so in order to get 50 grams of digestible carbohydrates out of white rice, we need to consume about 1 cup or 160 grams. Again, the glycemic index of white rice is 72, and in this case, it is useful because a cup of white rice is a reasonable serving size. However, let's now take a look at a fruit like watermelon. Watermelon has a glycemic index of 76, which is higher than white rice. But watermelons have just 11 grams of carbs per cup. That means that we will need to consume 4.5 cups or 720 grams of watermelon in order to have the same blood sugar impact that consuming 1 cup of white rice would. And now you can see how glycemic index alone can be misleading. And this is where the glycemic load comes in. The glycemic load is a formula that corrects for potentially misleading glycemic index values by combining a reasonable serving size and the glycemic index into one number. The carbohydrate content of the actual serving is multiplied by the food's glycemic index, and then this is divided by 100. So for a cup of watermelon, the glycemic load would be 11, which is the number of grams of digestible carbohydrates in 1 cup of watermelon, times 76, which is the glycemic index, and that will give us 836. We will divide this by 100, and that will give us a glycemic load of 8.36. Everything under 10 is considered low in the glycemic load scale, and everything over 20 is considered high. As you can see, even though watermelon has a high glycemic index, it has a low glycemic load. In other words, a reasonable portion of watermelon, about 1 cup, should not spike your blood sugar too much. But if you were to eat a lot of watermelon, it would definitely have a big impact on your blood sugar levels. Having both the glycemic index and the glycemic load values gives us a much better picture of what's the actual impact of any given food on our blood sugar. On that note, if you're looking for a natural, low glycemic sweetener, please consider buying our monk fruit drops. Close to 5,000 people buy it every single month, and is the reason I'm able to make these videos. Click the link in the description below to get 20% off your first order on our site, and you can also find us on Amazon and Walmart.com. All right, let's go back to the video. We created a list of 79 fruits sorted by impact on blood sugar levels based on the glycemic load so that you can identify the ones that best align with your goals. Click the link in the description below to get immediate access. Now, make sure to pay attention to the serving size column. As explained before, the glycemic load is determined based on the serving size. If you're looking for a fruit you can eat a lot of without much impact to your blood sugar, then look for fruits with big serving sizes and low glycemic load values.